Time was, there were those who felt part of being a real man meant never shedding a tear. But as Jim Axelrod explains, the idea there's no crying in baseball, or golf for that matter, is long gone.
Professional golfer Rob Labritz
This is a game of passion.
Oh, yeah.
has paired that passion with a lifetime of practice.
Does every one of your days include some time doing what you're doing?
Oh, yes. Putting, chipping, pitching, bunker play, half swings, quarter swings, full swings.
Which is why, last December, when he finally reached a moment 35 years in the making,
Oh, man.
So proud of
earning a place on the PGA Champions Tour, where the world's best golfers 50 and over play for millions of dollars. He was speechless. Tears did all his talking.
It was just a whirlwind of emotion, of lifelong drive and sacrifice and just practice and never give up. Thank you, brother.
Overnight, Rob Labritz and his emotion went viral.
How were those tears received by everyone you came in contact with?
I'll say 9 million positives and 1 made fun of. Just 1.
By attacking me, by attacking my wife, he has proved himself to be a gutless coward.
A far cry from half a century ago,
A good woman,
when presidential candidate Ed Muskie's apparent tears after a newspaper's attack on his wife torpedoed his presidential campaign.
You know, if I can't show emotion in that instance, then I guess the conclusion is that I've got to be an iceberg all of the time.
For Rob Labritz, the way his tears were received reflects not just acceptance, but affirmation.
Does it feel to you that kind of reaction reflects some sort of evolution in our culture?
Yeah, I mean, as things evolve, they have in the past, what, say 50 or 60 years, right? I mean, it's okay to cry. Doesn't mean you're weak by any means, trust me.
If Ed Muskie was running today and cried for the same reasons, would it cripple his campaign?
No, I think it would have influenced voters to see him as a more human person.
Vassar psychology professor Randy Cornelius has made a 45-year scholarly study of crying, coinciding with this cultural shift. From Real Men Don't Cry to a 2016 poll in which 89% of Americans think it's acceptable for men to cry. Since Muskie, everyone from politicians to athletes has grown more comfortable shedding tears publicly.
You must feel, since you've been studying this for 4 decades, a sense that we're moving in the right direction as a culture if we can more readily cry.
Yes, I think crying is so important to us as humans, and it's one of the things that distinguishes us as humans.
Monkeys, dogs, horses, reptiles, and birds, they all shed tears, but only human tears have been linked conclusively to emotion.
Elephants mourn. You know, that whole thing about elephant burial grounds is true.
But they don't tear as part of their mourning?
No, as far as we know.
So crying, as linked to emotion, is uniquely human.
Yes.
For Cornelius, tears have evolved as a way for humans to signal each other and mark behaviors that will help us survive.
What is the evolutionary advantage of being able to cry?
I think it perpetuates the species because it helps in that bonding process. Tears are one of the most powerful ways in which we bond with one another. That tells us that this is a special moment. This is deep. This is existential, if you will.
Hey, Stella!
Maybe it's the outgrowth of a change that started with tough guys like Marlon Brando crying on screen in the 50s.
You'll never leave me, baby.
It's all right to cry.
that led to football stars like Rosie Greer delivering groovy permission in the 1970s.
It might make you feel better.
So I think I've noticed an increase in it probably in the past 10 years or so.
Psychologist Lubna Somji has certainly seen an uptick in crying, especially with men.
We still sort of buy into the fact that men shouldn't cry and
Men
that
should be stoic.
men should be stoic. That being said, what's interesting, at least in my practice, if let's say 80% of women in my practice have cried at some point during therapy, I would say that 80% of my male patients have also cried.
Your characters have lives outside of the scenes in the play and the movie.
But acting coach Tim Martin Krause,
I didn't mean to do it.
who once taught a 13-year-old Claire Danes to cry for a scene in Law and Order, wants to be clear about the limits of tears.
So how does an actor learn to cry on command?
Well, that question sort of treats actors like a trained seal. Like, flip a fish and they do their trick.
So many things I still want back.
Tears are not some sort of emotional holy grail. For Krause, they're just one way to show connection to an underlying emotion.
I want to know how that baby will ever know how wonderful his mother was.
Like how Sally Field cried in Steel Magnolias.
Oh, God, I want to know why?
One way, but not the only way.
When my father died, at the funeral, one of my really good friends said to me, I really thought you loved your father. And I said, I did. They said, you didn't cry. And I was so flabbergasted that was their criteria for loving someone.
An emotional display.
In public.
Of a certain type.
Right, and at a certain time. It doesn't mean I loved him less or felt the loss less.
There's a lot of ways to express emotions, and tears are certainly one of them, but they are not the end-all be-all.
Of course, if the way someone does demonstrate their emotion is by crying, well, that's more okay now than ever.
I envisioned that call a few hundred times.
Just ask Rob Labritz.
Yeah.
Other pros, other competitors, did any of them mention it?
A lot of them said I had them in tears too. I heard that a lot. I don't even know you when I'm tearing up, which makes me feel really cool, for just hitting a golf ball.